Lily Allen really does not seem to like her album Sheezus. This is what she says about it.
And then the third album
Sheezus.
was a mess and a confusing nightmare. It's confused, it's hormonal, it's really looking for an identity and not finding it.
Today we're going to break down, is she right? Is Sheezus actually a mess? Is it actually a confusing nightmare? Why is she describing it in this way? Welcome to episode 7 of my Lily Allen discovery journey. I'm Vicky. I'm a therapist who loves talking about pop music. Just in case you're new here, I have been discovering Lily Allen one album at a time. I've already listened to West End Girl, No Shame, and now Sheezus. And coming up next are her first 2 albums, It's Not Me, It's You, and All Right Still, in that order. So if you're curious to follow along on this journey, I will link the playlist with all my Lily Allen videos up here and in the description below. And be sure to come back when I listen to the first few albums, because that will be, I'm excited to do that. My last video was my reaction to Sheezus, where I listened to it for the first time, and today's video is the discussion video, which is basically the follow-up to my reaction once I've had a chance to listen to the album a lot more, digest it, read your comments about it, and today we're here to talk about it. We have a lot to get through today. There are controversies surrounding this album. There is a track list that feels quite disjointed at times, and there are also really great moments on this album. So we're going to talk about all of it. I just want to say I really love reading your comments, whether you are a longtime Lily Allen fan or whether you are just now discovering her or certain albums with me. I just love hearing your perspectives and going on this journey with you guys. So never hesitate to leave a comment, whether it's just a single emoji or whether you feel like writing an essay or leaving multiple comments, like whatever you feel like doing. I'm more than happy to read them. I'm just really enjoying this process. So leave all the comments you want and let's get into it. Let's start with what I think was one of the most surprising things for me listening to Sheezus for the first time, which is the song order. My bias here is, of course, I have listened to West End Girl and No Shame and then Sheezus in that order, which means I went into this album with pretty high standards in terms of album construction and what Lily is capable of when it comes to putting together this cohesive, even chronological, in the case of West End Girl, just piece of work. And so Sheezus surprised me because it felt like there were these moments of whiplash. Let's be very honest, putting the song As Long as I've Got You directly after Take My Place is wild. Like, that makes for a wild listening experience. You can see it on my face while I'm listening. Whiplash again. But then I was kind of thinking about it, and honestly, in 2014, I think most albums were like this. You know, when I think back to what I was listening to, it was not chronological or concept albums. So one explanation for that might just be, you know, it's a product of its time period, and maybe it's not fair to judge that emotional experience of this album based on a sort of modern perspective, or even based on, you know, comparing it to her later albums. But I think this disjointed feeling actually reflects maybe what Lily was feeling at the time. From what you guys have shared with me and from the research I've been doing, Lily was going through a lot emotionally at that time. I think it would be fair to say she was not fully ready to be making an album. She had just become a mother to 2 children after a stillbirth right before that. Her label was really pushing and pressuring her to get back on the pop scene. And you can just feel in the lyrics that she was juggling a lot of life changes and a lot of emotions at the time. And I think she was also struggling with a few different identities as well. Her identity as a famous person, as a woman in that time period, as a daughter. A couple of you pointed out this song, Who Do You Love, is actually talking about a family dynamic of comparing, you know, how her mother maybe treats her versus her sister, which thank you for pointing that out. I think that interpretation makes a lot more sense than how I received it initially. And not to mention her identity as a mother and all the complexity of that. I mean, losing her first child, then having two children, trying to juggle everything that that entails, plus trying to manage the pressures of the label and of the music industry. Like, that's a lot for someone to handle. In her song Life for Me, she even says it. She says she feels like a mess. Not to mention, there are some of these songs she just really, really doesn't like. I mean, she shared that with Air Balloon, she did not have enough creative control. She was not happy to be putting that song out.
Their favourite song is this song that you sing.
I hate it.
Why? Why do you hate it?
And then the cover of Somewhere Only We Know just did not feel authentic to her.
Because it's just so not me, and also it just reminds me of a really dead time in my life.
So if you take her emotional state at the time, coupled with how she feels about some of these songs, the emotional confusion makes sense. Like, it makes sense why you would be listening to this and feel emotionally confused, maybe because that's how she felt at the time. And then on top of all of that, it sounds like there was drama and controversy just surrounding this time period for her. There was the Twitter feud with Azalea Banks, which just sounds really messy. Apparently, the song Insincerely Yours was inspired by that. And then there was the Hard Out Here music video, which also messy. I think there were a lot of good intentions here. It sounds like at least one verse was a direct response to Robin Thicke's very sexist song, Blurred Lines. There's also a scene in the music video with the balloons that seems to be a response to that. And there are some very good, very valid points being made about gender inequality and the very real and unfortunately still relevant objectification of women. Also, the ridiculous pressure to have a perfect body immediately after having kids.
Jesus, how does somebody let themselves get like this, huh?
It's a lack of self-discipline, I suppose.
I had 2 babies.
But then the video received a lot of criticism for its portrayal of Black women. When I heard this song for the first time, it was just with the lyrics, and my interpretation of the lyrics was as a criticism of societal expectations for women, for pop stars. It sounds like the criticism of the music video was around how those lyrics were paired with the visuals. And I know Lily released a statement saying that none of this was intentional, there was no intended racism, but yeah. It is really unfortunate. I really like this song. I like the messages. I think it makes some great points. It's very catchy. I don't know. Let me know, how do you feel about this music video? How do you feel about this song? So all of that just contributes to this feeling of messiness around this album. But it feels really important to give some space to all the really good things about this album too. First of all, speaking of really great messages, there are so many in this album. The song Life for Me normalizes having complex feelings about motherhood. The song Holding On to Nothing really speaks to the very human fear of loss and how trauma can impact how you feel in your relationships. The song Sheezus is a really great criticism of comparison. And then I know she hates Air Balloon, but that song is really good. The production is really good. It sounds like the fan favorites are probably Hard Out Here and URL Badman, which I hear you. I really like those. Let's just take a moment for this music video, which is so 2014. It's so fun. My favorite parts are where she raises her pinky finger during the Willy line. And then also when she does a body roll to the goat sound. Which, by the way, one of you pointed out that maybe it's not a goat sound, maybe it's a sheep sound. And maybe she's actually calling out the keyboard warriors for being sheep and not true leaders. Love that interpretation. But the song that I have been listening to the most, that is my favorite song on this album, I'm so sorry, it's Late Comer. I don't know how unpopular this opinion is. I Love that song. All the sound effects throughout the song that indicate arrival, like the opening music, the little elevator dings that are throughout the whole song. And then even the fact the song is written in third person, like she's talking about her partner rather than to her partner. So it just kind of gives me this feeling of this like really excited friend telling you about her latecomer and how proud and happy and satisfied she is. It just kind of adds this other really fun dimension to it. And then just how open and comfortable she is talking about sex is really refreshing.
It's about him being able to last a very long time in bed.
Also, honorable mention to Silver Spoon, which has amazing production and is also really funny and just has that Lily sarcasm I love. If you're curious, this is my running playlist I've made inspired by this album. These are just my core favorite songs, honestly. So, is this album a mess? I think there are enough songs here that stand on their own, and there's pretty solid production throughout. So I wouldn't call the album itself a mess, but I will say that the more I learn about the time period and the things going on around this album, that stuff sounds messy. Is this album lacking identity? If we're comparing it to West End Girl and No Shame, I would say yes. I think those two albums you can define in one really clear sentence what they are, what they represent, what their goal is. And I think that's harder to do with this album. If you have a sort of one concise sentence that you think could summarize Sheezus, I'd love to hear what it is. One thing this album is not lacking is personality. I think there are enough sarcastic moments, really funny moments where you definitely get the feeling of the person behind the album, even if the album itself is not really clear on its identity. Is this album a confusing nightmare? First of all, I agree that it's hormonal. I think Close Your Eyes probably gets the most hormonal award. And I can see how it might have been a nightmare to make and to think back on. Like for Lily, I can see how it might be a nightmare. I mean, all that societal pressure from the label while trying to go through life changes, process grief while writing and singing songs like Air Balloon. Yeah, just putting myself in her shoes, I would also call it a nightmare, probably. But for the listener, at least for me, I wouldn't say it's a nightmare. I would say it's confusing at times, especially on first listen, but I would not call it a nightmare. If you got this far in the video and you've enjoyed it, please consider giving a like to this video. It really does help my channel. Let me know your thoughts about this album. Don't forget to come back because the next Lily album I'll be listening to is It's Not Me, It's You. It sounds like a fan favorite, so I'm really excited for it. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.